Results and Superstar spoilers. Happy birthday goes to Hey Maximo. Real name Kelvin Ramirez. Turned 31 years old. He was born October 13th, 1983. A couple are currently promoting the Global Force Wrestling brand. Independent pro wrestler Gregory Iron turned 28 on Sunday. He was born on October 12th, 19. WWE stars Jimmy and Jay Uso. Duke the Dumpster Droese turned 44 years old. Would have been the 88th birthday of Hall of Famer Killer Kowalski. The TNA broadcast team member, aka Peter Senachia, turned 47 on Saturday. He was born October 11, 1967. Prior to his broadcasting days, Taz was great in ECW. Had to defeat Kurt Angle, however, his pro wrestling career was cut short, derailed by a neck injury. Former TNA wrestler Andy Douglas turned 36 on Saturday. He was born October 11, 1978. Douglas recently retired from pro wrestling in March of 2010. No dark match advertised for Raw. And bigger and bigger. Booker noted they are looking to bring wrestling back to the territory days and talks about different charity work that they do. Recently signed and never actually started with NXT. Naofumo Yamamoto, formerly Yoshitatsu, made his return to wrestling to New Japan Pro Wrestling at the King. Tanahashi to fend off Jeff Jarrett, who was at ringside with Styles. Tanahashi ended up winning the match and the IWGP Championship. New Japan one-on-one with Yamamoto at their next big show. Power Struggle, it was called, on November the 8th. Yamamoto started his career with New Japan and was in the same referred to him as WWE Yoshitatsu as Yamamoto. He delivered some strong work during his time on WWE CW. 26 Battle Royal, but in hindsight, it seems that he may have wasted the prime years of his career being sorely underutilized like many others. At this point, here's hoping he's able to make up for the lost time and make his mark with the second biggest wrestling company in the world. The latest SmackDown's move suggests that they were originally set to move to Thursday nights in the fall, but CBS airing Thursday Night Football changed WWE's plans. Football is so big that CBS moved The Big Bang Theory, one of the biggest shows, to Monday night in order to acquire the 8 game that they'll air this season, ending in October. WWE SmackDown is still rumored for a move in January. WWE has new episodes of Slam City now online at WWE Slam City at this link, and you can watch it on YouTube. And below is a new episode with Randy Orton and Daniel Bryan. And Orton's character looks more like Austin Aries from TNA. During last night's WWE Live event in Macon, Georgia, from Sunday night, the company's Twitter account sent out a message on Twitter with a video entrance of Brad Maddox resurfacing. No word yet on who he faced. The video had maybe like 10 seconds of his entrance, and that was it. Latino-review.com reports that former WWE champion Dave Bautista is set to star as Hinks, the main henchman in the next James Bond movie. Hinks was described like this in a recent casting call. Ideally over 6'2". Hinks is the main henchman, assassin we are looking for in an imposing, extremely physically fit actor. He has several fights with Bond and will have to have stunt training. He has to drive. We are looking for someone with very similar, possibly from a sports background. Bond 24 will begin filming on December 6th with Daniel Craig reprising the role of James Bond for the 4th time. WWE Hall of Famer Hulk Hogan is scheduled for this coming Monday's Raw from Kansas City, Missouri at the Sprint Center. Hall of Famer Jimmy Hart is also scheduled for an appearance. Formerly known as Medusa and Alundra Blaze from wrestling, Deborah Maselli has been hospitalized. According to someone that sent in some news, she took a nasty spill in Melbourne, Australia during a monster truck performance. She said she will recover and is planning on attending the next one upcoming from October the 11th and Sydney from October 18th. No information available on the former WWE's champion and her health at this present time. According to a report from Fight Network, Alberto Del Rio is close with WWE to a settlement on the lawsuit filed by the former star against the company. As you may recall, Del Rio filed suit against the company over his non-compete clause after he was fired in August for unprofessional conduct for slapping Cody Barbieri after Barbieri made a joke Del Rio felt was racist, discriminative, and I even back that 100%. The non-compete clause prohibits Del Rio from wrestling in the United States for a year, not in other companies. Del Rio filed a lawsuit against the company as a result, calling the clause unconstitutional. There are no details on what the settlement has entailed. Del Rio recently confirmed that he slapped Barbieri over a racist comment. A Reddit user who claims to be a former worker backstage for WWE claims that Barbieri has appeared on TV before, playing CM Punk's doctor in December 2012 and January 2013. The Reddit user has previously revealed several scripts from WWE programming and other news proven to be legit. Former WWE superstar Snitsky was backstage visiting a Sunday's Live event in Allentown, Pennsylvania. Former diva Maria Kanellis and Ring of Honor's Mike Bennett hitched a knot. And they got married on Friday, and they've been together since 2011. Joey Styles tweeted the following about the wedding. Man and wife. Today at Real Mike Bennett, Mary's former at WWE Diva at Maria L. Kanellis. Congratulations, and God bless him. That trumps hashtag SmackDown 15. Former WCW IWGP World Heavyweight Champion Vader recently spoke to Raj Girl of WrestlingInc.com. You can get a video message from Vader and other wrestlers and celebrities at celebvm.com. Highlights of the interview: Ultimate Warrior originally was groomed to be Big Van Vader in Japan. Vader comments, "Yeah, this is just my understanding, but I heard that Sid Vicious was also up for it, and Antonio Inoki had designed this thing, and he was going to put the helmet on somebody and pay him a lot of money. They brought the Warrior over, and let's face it, may he rest in peace, and with all the due respect, he looked fantastic. He had a lot of energy. He's a Hall of Famer, but athletically, he was limited. In other words, he was a little stiff. In other words, I don't think he could play a real good game of basketball. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I believe the best wrestlers are also athletic in nature. Look at someone like Sting, who is a tremendous athlete. Look at Undertaker, who is just a fabulous athlete. A guy like Shawn Michaels, who is a smaller athlete, but tremendous athleticism. I think Ultimate Warrior and Sid, although they look fantastic, athletically I don't think they'd have been given college scholarship to play football or basketball or something like that. This is my point. Over in Japan, these guys were just very special athletes. They were raised in this. They were like gods, and these guys were raised to do this from childhood. These guys started when they were 10, doing squats and push-ups, and they were handpicked. The best athletes moved on. There was never a case when I got in the ring in Japan and I wasn't a superior athlete. These guys were all fantastic athletes. They could do anything. A guy named Mitsuhiro Misawa, he worked for a while and then started his own company, Noah. He could do anything physically. He was just gifted. He got heavy and smoked towards the end and still could do 20 and 30-minute matches with me and just do anything and hold any move. Anything off the top rope, all of them. Kabashi, Akiyama, Inoki was probably the latest athletic of them. All great mood of God. You talk about 6'3" athlete. So that's just my opinion, and they didn't work out because Nikki saw that they could not go 20 minutes a night and work these athletic smaller guys, especially Sid, because of his height. He's 6'7", and you know, I was a lot taller than these guys, and compared to Sid towers over me. I'm 6'4", and he's 6'7", 6'8", with a boot on. But again, if you watch Sid in the ring, he's kind of stiff. He kind of reminds me of Kane. Kane is stiff. He moves. That robotic kind of thing, not real fluid. And you compare Kane to The Undertaker, and I think that'd be a fair analogy. Kane gets up to the top rope, and he comes off, and it's kind of difficult for him, and it's kind of awkward. The Undertaker walks up backwards gracefully and comes up to the top rope. And there's just a difference in athletic ability. Don't get me wrong. Kane's a Hall of Famer, and he's going to do great, but I'm trying to make a point here. Comments about the Sid Vicious Arn Anderson hotel fight in the UK in 1993. He and Steve Austin are sitting here in a hotel bar, and then all hell breaks loose. Neither one of us really saw what happened, but next thing I know, man, Sid comes walking up to me because I was headed that way, and to see if I could help her or just hold somebody because it was a violent fight. I mean, there was chairs and bottles and said, if memory serves, it was either just to the left of his belly button or just to the right of his belly button. He had a hole in him. It was about a nickel-sized stream of blood squirted out every time his heart pumped. It came out about 4 inches before it fell down. It was trickling down his stomach. It was twirling out, and it came out in about 2 or 3 inches, and then it dropped, and I thought to myself, he's not going to last long. He'll bleed to death. I said, Sid, trust me. Then I grabbed a chair and I sat down and said, Sid, don't move. You're going to die. And I slowly eased my thumb into the hole and higher. And he said, you're hurting me. And I said, you got to take it. I got to get it in there a little bit more, and it slowed the bleeding enough and kept him alive until the ambulance came. That's a true story. This was instinct on my part. I knew if I could, if I took a towel, he'd bleed to death. I thought I had to plug it, and somehow I got in there and I stopped the bleeding, partially because I got my thumb on the vein that had been cut, and it slowly stopped. It slowed it down. And you know what? As far as I'm concerned, Anderson owes me a thank you, because I don't care if you're right or wrong. When someone gets killed, you're in trouble. Someone dies. As far as Sid, I probably saved his life. And you know what? Not probably, but most definitely did. Because I was there, I saw it, and laughed. Neither one of them thanked me. No good deed goes unpunished, brother. Comments on being promised the WWE title? Vader, you know what? the title was promised to me 2 times. I was supposed to be a 2-time heavyweight champion if I did the job for Shawn at SummerSlam, and then something would happen. I'd get it and then give it to somebody else. Take it back and then give it back to Shawn in San Antonio instead. Somehow that got changed around. Anyways, Sid took that run, and then I had a really great opportunity. Vince said to me, "You're not just a good worker, you're a great big man, and there's a guy coming in here called The Rock. Just take him under the arm about 90 days and just beat the hell out of him. I want you to teach him how to wrestle, but be rough on him." The Rock was just, "Yes, sir. No, sir," to me, and for 90 days I beat him up every night. I made him listen. He hit me harder, and do this and this psychology and that psychology. And the last night he beat me, and we shook hands, and he went on, and I think I did a pretty good job. He had a whole lot to work with, and then for that, Vince said, "We're going to give you a run at the Intercontinental," and then that never happened. Vader also discussed another gimmick Vince McMahon had for him, getting his start in pro wrestling, his NFL career getting cut short, signing with WCW, Ron Simmons defeating him to become the first African American World Heavyweight Champion, and what it meant to him, Eric Bischoff taking charge in WCW, his WCW departure, signing with WWE not pushing him properly, and much, much more. And you can read the full interview at this link. Scott Hall's son, Cody, has been added to the big WrestleCade event in Winston-Salem, North Carolina for next month. Rob Van Dam will be performing at John Lovett's Comedy Club on Thursday night at 8 p.m. in Universal City, California. JR tweeted the following about comments between JBL and Jerry King Lawler on this week's Raw when promoting Steve Austin's podcast. Yes, I heard the insider talk when Steve Austin's BSR podcast was being promoted on Raw. I got the inside joke. Takes no balls. #classy. The following statement was issued today in regards to indie wrestler Willie Mack being cut from WWE Developmental. Hollywood, California, October 13th. Today, news of WWE's release of Willie McClinton Jr. Willie Mack has spread throughout the pro wrestling world. The following is an official statement from McClinton. "I would like to thank everyone for their support during the past few months. It is true that I was scheduled to report to the WWE Performance Center later this year, and it is true that they have chosen not to employ me at this time. Although I am disappointed that I will not be able to be headed to Florida, I am proud of the fact that I was on their radar to begin with and was offered the opportunity, and I look forward to the opportunities with the WWE. In the meantime, I will continue my working relationships with Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, AWS, Pro Wrestling Revolution, Future Stars of Wrestling, Lucha Vavoom, and All Pro Wrestling, PWG, and the numerous international promotions I have worked for with over the years. For booking inquiries, please contact McClinton at WillieTheJugalo2000@yahoo.com. That's his official email. Courtesy of IGN, below is a reveal of Kane's mask in the WWE studio, See No Evil 2. That was filmed at least 2 or 3 years ago. And a new featurette. And a video. In the next video, Sam Roberts talks about the Bray Wyatt and the WWE Performance Center. As Wyatt says, they first realized at an event in Canada, based on fan reaction, they had a hit that had the NXT thing was catching on with the fans. Wyatt says he was obsessed with becoming something while down in NXT. He says they're all blown away by how far they've come and that they know more is to come. Wyatt said that what comes from NXT for him, what next comes for him, will peel the skin back from everyone's forehead. He said that what we've seen is nothing. Bray added that he wouldn't just miss a pay-per-view for anything, or for nothing, referring to being off Night of Champions pay-per-view as possibly Hell in a Cell. Again, the link to the video. Bella Twins have a minor role in the independent movie Confessions of a Womanizer. The movie is currently making the rounds at the film festival. I haven't seen a post of the link for the movie. Chris Jericho noted that his new book, which hits the stores this week, is already #1 on the Amazon pre-order list. Hall of Famer Jake Snake Roberts was at the Raw from Atlanta, since Jake apparently lives in the area in Atlanta. Not too far from Atlanta, I think it was Stone Mountain area. WWE announced that they will not be renewing the contract of ring announcer Justin Roberts. Effective immediately, Roberts is now being released from WWE from Monday night. And recent statement from WWE.com. This is purely speculation, but perhaps WWE officials feel that they have a cheaper alternative. Either way, it's an opportunity for Roberts, since it's not like there is anywhere else that they would pay him as much to work as a ring announcer. WWE take the following matches from Atlanta to air on Superstars: Bo Dallas versus Zack Ryder, Cesaro versus Kofi Kingston. Apparently, Bo's first match for Superstars. Thank you to Matt H., who attended Raw in Atlanta, sent the following results for the Superstars. Spoilers: Bo Dallas defeated Zack Ryder. His Ryder got some offense in and set up for his finisher, but Bo rolled out and tripped him up to the floor, and then came back in for the Bulldog for the win. Match number 2, Cesaro defeated Kofi Kingston, and there were some fun spots. Cesaro teased a swing. He launched Kingston into a turnbuckle, which Kingston reversed it, but jumped into an uppercut. And that was it for Superstars. Raw backstage post-show. There was a segment after Raw in Atlanta with John Cena and Dean Ambrose. Cena said he gave Ambrose veteran advice earlier, but is giving him veteran respect now. He said Ambrose won because he was the better man and deserved to go to Hell in a Cell. Cena told Ambrose that he's a damn good in the ring and not to let idiots like Triple H get in his mind. Cena said sooner or later he and Ambrose will be fighting for a championship. They shook hands and Cena raised Ambrose's arm as fans cheered. Raw kickoff pre-show opened up with Byron Saxton, Alex Riley, and Booker T at studios in Stamford, Connecticut. They hyped Big Show versus Rusev, and tonight's guest stars. We get a look at the feud with Seth Rollins, John Cena, and Dean Ambrose. We also see Ambrose on Miz TV from Friday SmackDown. Rollins says Ambrose has the advantage, but Booker insists Cena does. We get commercials and look back at The Rock and Rusev from last week. They talk about Show versus Rusev on Raw tonight. We get a look back get a look at Sheamus and Miz from last week. There will be a rematch tonight. Renee Young's backstage with Miz and Damien Sandow. Miz mocks and says that he can't wait to get in the ring with Sheamus and says it's best for business. Miz says that the Authority wants to keep having him embarrass Sheamus in non-title matches. That's fine. Miz gives Renee a sign, 8x10, and walks off. Sandow gives her one of her own, his own also. She says she's a big fan of Sandow and tries to shake his hand, but he walks off. The panel talks about the Miz and plugs WWE shot before some commercials, and they do some bold predictions on the Miz and Nene, and that's it for the pre-show. Raw kicks off with a video package. We're live from Atlanta with JBL, Jerry King Lawler, and Michael Coleslaw. We go right to the ring. Out comes Dean Ambrose. He wants more than nothing to be inside the Hell in a Cell with Seth Rollins. But before that, one thing is in his way and it is pissing him off. A little matter to deal with. Ambrose says he's got to get through John Cena first in a no-holds-barred contract on a pole match. Ambrose says he's going to beat Cena with a pole and then bounce Rollins' head around the cell. Cena's music interrupts and out he comes. Cena tells Ambrose to relax. Cena talks about their match and says instead of coming out here and talking crazy, Ambrose should use his 2 weeks to get ready for their match. Cena says it will be the biggest match of Ambrose's career and says he's going to bring it. Ambrose says he is ready. He was born ready and has been ready to kick Cena's ass for years. Cena then tells Ambrose to throw it all away by making a shot at him. Cena says Ambrose is in way over his head and out of his league. Cena calls Ambrose son. He tells Ambrose to pipe down, and they're interrupted by the Authority coming out to Triple H's music. Stephanie brings up the tag match tonight. She and Triple H wonder if they're afraid to fight each other. Stephanie announces the Usos versus Goldust and Stardust versus Cena and Ambrose. Out comes the tag team champions Stardust and Goldust. Of course, the match is up first to open up Raw. Triple threat match for tag teams. All three are out finally. We go to another commercial. Entrances from all three tag teams. Back from the break, Ambrose locks up with Jimmy. Ambrose with a shoulder and a hip toss before taking Uso to the mat. Cena tags in, takes Uso to the mat. Cena with a bulldog for a 2 count. Ambrose tags back in and they double team Uso. Ambrose drops an elbow for a pin attempt. Uso drops Ambrose with a boot to the mouth and then tags in Jay. Ambrose takes him right down. Ambrose with a clothesline. Cena tags back in and they double team on Uso again. Uso with a counter and a big shot to Cena. Cena rolls through and goes for an attitude adjustment on Uso. Uso slides out and hits a super kick for a 2 count. Jimmy comes back in and they double team Cena for a 2 count. Cena with a standing drop kick. Uso with a Samoan drop for a 2 count. They come back in and keep Cena on the mat. Ambrose finally gets a tag and unloads on Uso. Stardust ends up pulling out Uso out of the ring and throwing him over the barrier as they go to commercial. Back from the break, the champions are double teaming in their corners. Goldust works over Uso but gets dropped with a big right hand. Stardust comes in and stomps away. Goldust comes back in for some more double teaming. Fans chant for Uso and Goldust. Mocks them, and Uso takes out Stardust from the apron and boots and gets a boot into Goldust. Jay awaits the tag in the ring. Jimmy goes for the tag, but Goldust yanks Jay off the apron. Ambrose takes out Goldust on the floor. Cena's waiting for a tag also. Cena comes and unloads on Stardust with his usual moves. Cena goes for the 5 moves of doom and hits it. Stardust lands on his feet from an attitude adjustment attempt. Goldust runs in and power slams Cena. Uso super kicks to Goldust, and the Usos both run the ropes and dive out onto the champions. Cena goes to the top and leaps out onto all 4 of them. Ambrose runs to the top rope and leaps on all 5 of them. Hitting Cena with an elbow. Ambrose rolls Goldust and Cena in the ring. Cena backdrop Goldust. Ambrose hits Goldust with a dirty deeds, while Cena hits attitude adjustment simultaneously on Stardust for the win. After the match, Cena and Ambrose have their hands raised. The Authority come back to the stage and interrupts celebration. Triple H gives Stephanie $1 for the bet that they made. Triple H says that he hates losing and says maybe Cena and Ambrose just need a spark to make them fight. Triple H says, why wait until Hell in a Cell to decide who faces Rollins? And the no-holds-barred contract on the pole will take place later on the show. Authority exits and Cena and Ambrose face off in the ring. Announces tonight's main event and Big Show versus Rusev. AJ Lee and Layla in a tag team action versus Paige and Alicia Fox. Well, let's see if there's actual tag team. AJ makes her way out and we see a clip from last week's Raw. Back to commercial. Back from the break and we get AJ's partner for this week is Layla. We get a sidebar video from earlier of AJ saying she's not going to walk out on Layla because they should be able to get along for just one night. They had a very insincere hug. Paige and Alicia made their way out. Alicia and AJ starts the match off. AJ struck first, but Alicia hits a backbreaker for a 2. Paige tagged in and wasted time talking trash to the fans. AJ got up and chased Paige around the ring. They run back and Alicia tags in. AJ grabbed Paige, but Alicia hits her from behind. Alicia tossed AJ into the corner, but AJ turns it around. AJ goes to tag Layla. But Layla dropped off the apron. Alicia attacks from behind, but AJ counters and hits the Shining Wizard for the win. After the match, AJ chased Layla up the ramp and throws her face first into the steel. AJ took Layla to ringside and throws her hard into the barrier twice. AJ grabbed her title and skipped to the back. Still to come segment, Show versus Rusev and Cena versus Ambrose. Back to commercial. The Authority backstage talking about how Cena and Ambrose will destroy each other. Randy Orton walks in and talks about beating Dolph Ziggler tonight. Orton wants a match at Hell in a Cell against whoever Seth Rollins doesn't face. They like the idea, and he walks off. JBL mentions 2 Hell in a Cell matches. We get another vignette from the Wyatt family. Bray Wyatt is setting Eric Rowan free. Dolph Ziggler versus Randy Orton. We go to the ring. Out first comes Intercontinental Champion Dolph Ziggler. Back to commercial. Back from the break. Out comes Randy Orton. Cesaro is on commentary. Cesaro wants his title shot rematch against Ziggler. They lock up and Orton takes it to the corner. They lock up again and Ziggler takes it to the corner. Ziggler unloads on Orton, rolls to the floor. Ziggler follows and they go at it. Using the steel steps, Ziggler with the elbows and a body shot to the corner. Now Ziggler with a splash in the corner. Ziggler goes for an elbow drop and Orton moves out of the way. Ziggler with a headlock. Orton turns it around and works Ziggler over for a 2 count. They go on and Orton drops Ziggler over the top rope. Orton poses for a big pop. Ziggler drops Orton over the top rope and hits a drop kick for a 2 count. Orton goes back to the floor and Ziggler follows. They tangle and Ziggler throws Orton into the barrier. Ziggler brings it back in the ring for a 2 count. Orton with Ziggler whips Ziggler very hard into the ring post. More back and forth action as Ziggler drop kicks Orton off the apron. Seth Rollins appears on the ramp. Orton turns around and has words with him as we go to commercial. Back from the break as Ziggler fighting back. Orton blocks a drop kick and catapults Ziggler into the turnbuckle for a 2 count. Then we see Rollins watching from the ramp. They end up on the top. Ziggler knocks Orton to the mat. Orton comes back and crotches him. Orton climbs back up and nails a big superplex. Orton with a 2 count. Ziggler makes another comeback. Ziggler with a neck breaker and a big elbow drop for a 2 count. Orton catches a kick and hits a power slam for a 2 count. Orton with a draping DDT from the second rope. The normal draping DDT. Orton goes for an RKO, but Ziggler rolls him up for a close 2 count. Orton dodges the famouser and hits a super kick for a 2 count. Fans start chanting, this is awesome. Ziggler goes for the zigzag, but it's blocked. Orton misses a shot, but blocks the famouser and lifts Ziggler in the air, catching him for the RKO on the way down and for the non-title win. After the match, Orton celebrates as Rollins slowly walks around the ring. Music stops and Rollins enters the ring to booze. Fans chant, "You sold out," and Rollins just stands there. Rollins nails a curb stomp on Ziggler and gets booed some more. Still to come segment, Cena versus Ambrose. Well, we got Seth Rollins versus Jack Swagger up next, since he's already out for his match. Back from the break, Seth Rollins waits as Jack Swagger makes his way out. Well, Orton left the ring area, headed to the back and forth to start the match. Rollins stalling some. Swagger ends up taking the knee out and slamming Rollins. Rollins sends Swagger to the mat from the top. Rollins works on the arm and drops Swagger with an arm bar. They end up fighting on the floor, and Randy Orton makes his way back down the ramp. Rollins nails a suicide dive on Swagger. Rollins and Orton stare each other down. As we go to commercial, back from the break, Rollins ducks a clothesline and hits a big kick to the back. Kick to the head for a 2 count. Rollins with more offense as Orton looks on. Orton and Rollins have words. Swagger finally makes a comeback and drops Rollins on his head. Swagger keeps control and hits a big back drop before doing the Swagger bomb for a 2 count. Swagger takes the knee out again and goes for the Patriot lock. Rollins rolls through and hits the kick to the face. Swagger dodges the curve stomp and applies the Patriot lock, but Rollins gets the bottom rope. Rollins ends up countering a hold, and Rollins nails Swagger for the win. After the match, Orton runs in the ring and lays Swagger out with an RKO. Orton gets Rollins' face. They meet in the middle of the ring for a stare down and have words. Rollins backs out of the ring and the fans boo. Still to come segment, Cena versus Ambrose, back to commercial. Renee Young backstage with Dean Ambrose and asks what we can expect tonight. He said not to expect a nice guy. Ambrose says Cena and Rollins are both on a highway to hell. Tom Fellas backstage with Big Show. Show says he's proved Rusev he has a glass jaw, and tonight he's going to shatter it. Show gets fired up and says he's going to show us exactly what he learned in sensitivity training. So we get Big Show versus Rusev back in the ring, and out comes Rusev with Lana. Back to commercial. Back from the break, and Lana's on the mic. She takes shots at America, Columbus A, Native Americans, and Atlanta Braves baseball. Rusev speaks and says Big Show's actions will have consequences. A big USA chant breaks out. Lana tells them to shut up. Shut up. Rusev says if Big Show has a spine, he will rip it out with his hands. Show's music finally hits and out he comes. The bell rings and the Show runs over Rusev with a big boot. Show with a big shot to the back of the head. Show takes Rusev to the corner before tossing him out of the ring. Show works over Rusev and out on the announce table and hits a big chop. Show whips Rusev in the barrier and he lands hard. Rusev gets knocked out of the ring again. Show brings him back in and keeps control. A big tomahawk chop chant for the Braves break out in the crowd. Rusev finally turns it around and stomps away on Show. We go to commercial with Rusev in control. Back from the break, Rusev still has Show down. Working him over, Show finally gets to his feet and drops Rusev. Show comes off the second rope again with an elbow, but misses as Rusev moves. Show breaks out of the corner, out of a hold, another hold, but misses the knockout punch, which is the WMD. Rusev applies the accolade and keeps it held, but Show won't tap. Mark Henry is at ringside cheering Show on. Rusev breaks the hold to swing at Henry, but doesn't hit him. Rusev reapplies the hold on Show until Henry comes in and hits him for the disqualification. After the match, Henry helps Show to his feet, but Show is upset that Henry interfered. The Russian flag drops over the ring near Show and Henry. Rusev has his own flag at ringside. Show and Henry corner Rusev and Lana on the floor. Rusev goes at it with Henry, allowing Show to knock Rusev out with the WMD. And Lana yells at Henry and Show as they stand over Rusev. So comes segment, Sheamus versus The Miz. Renee Young stops Sheamus backstage and says he has two brogue kicks waiting for him, for Miz and Damon Sandow. Back to commercial, back from the break, we get a look at USA Network's Chris Lee Knows Best gay reality show. We see Todd Chrisley and his two sons sitting at ringside. Sheamus versus The Miz. We go to the ring, out comes WWE United States Champion Sheamus. Tom Phillips back at ringside with Chris Lee family. His younger son Grayson is a big WWE fan. Chris Lee plugs his show. Miz and Damon Sandow were out next. Sheamus chases to start the match. Miz strikes first and they go at it. Sheamus with a big elbow to knock Miz down. More back and forth action. Sheamus with a big kick to the back. Sheamus tosses Miz out onto Sandow. Sandow is the best thing going at ringside. Miz kicks the leg out from under Sheamus and unloads him on him in the corner. Fan chant for Sandow during the match. They go on and on and on, and Miz slaps Sheamus around. Sheamus catches a kick and dumps Miz over the top rope. Sheamus follows, and Miz and Sandow both crawl under the ring. Sheamus pulls Sandow out. He tries to pull Miz out, but Sandow goes for a clothesline. Miz crawls from the other side of the ring and wins by count out. The Miz. Sheamus goes after the Miz, but he runs off and taunts Sheamus from the stage with Sandow. Rosa Mendez, Natalya, Brie Bella, and Naomi go to get Real Housewives of Atlanta. Nene out of her dressing room. Cameron Summer and Nikki Bella walk by. Nene has words with Cameron. Still to come. Cena versus Ambrose. Back to commercial. So we get Cameron, Nikki, Summer Rae versus Natalya, Naomi, and Brie. Total Diva team without first. Nikki leaks is out next with Rosa Mendez to watch from ringside. Natalya and Cameron start the match off. Nikki comes in and keeps control. Nikki mocks Brie and Natalya rolls her up for a 2 count. It comes down to Brie and Summer, but Nikki tucks herself in and goes at it with Brie. Brie gets a win. After the match, Nene and Rosa come in the ring to celebrate with the winners. Cena cuts a promo on the main event with Renee Young backstage. We get another vignette from Bray Wyatt. This one is about Bray himself. And possibly Sister Abigail. He says, it's coming. Now with a pregnant belly. Triple H and Stephanie McMahon make their way out to watch the main event. We go to commercial. Contract on the pole. John Cena versus Dean Ambrose. Seth Rollins, Randy Orton, Kane, Triple H, and Stephanie are all watching from ringside. They both go for the contract to start. back and forth in the match. Ambrose blocks the Bulldog and sends Cena to the floor, but goes after Cena instead of getting the contract. They fight up to the stage. Cena goes for attitude adjustment. Ambrose blocks it and suplexes Cena on the steel. Ambrose runs back to the ring for the contract, but Cena slams him to the mat. Ambrose then sends Cena back to the floor and hits a suicide dive instead of going after the contract. Ambrose next Orton at ringside. Ambrose argues with the Authority and Cena drops Ambrose from behind. Cena throws Ambrose into the Authority now. Cena goes for the pole, but Orton stops him. Orton beats Cena down in the ring. A big brawl has broke out in the ring now. Cena hits an attitude adjustment on Kane as Ambrose has a contract as he climbs up and gets the win. After the match, a fight breaks loose. The fight looks to break out, but the Authority stares down Cena and Ambrose from the stage as Raw goes off the air. Nothing more than that. That's all I got to say about Raw and Superstars. Thanks again. Peace out. God bless. See you. By the way, if you don't know, just call me.